the whispering path begins. There is a quiet call that echoes in the heart of every person, a gentle, persistent yearning for peace, for meaning, for a sense of belonging to something greater than ourselves. It is not a loud demand, but a subtle hum beneath the surface of our busy lives, a sacred melody that can be easily drowned out by the clamor of daily responsibilities, digital distractions, and the relentless pursuit of worldly goals. This yearning is the soul's native language, a reminder of the home from which we came and to which we long to return. It manifests in the quiet moments, gazing at a star-dusted sky, feeling a pang of poignant beauty in a line of music, or sensing a profound stillness after a storm. It is the feeling that there is a deeper reality, a more authentic way to live, just beyond the veil of our ordinary perception. The world, however, shouts for our attention. It comes with urgent deadlines that colonize our thoughts and endless notifications that fracture our focus. It is the pervasive pressure to constantly be more, do more, and have more, a treadmill of ambition that never seems to arrive at a place of lasting contentment. It is the siren song of social media, promising connection while often delivering a curated illusion of perfection that fuels comparison and discontent. We scroll through the highlight reels of other lives, and the quiet whisper within us is drowned out by the loud voice of inadequacy. It is the relentless news cycle, feeding us a steady diet of fear and division, making the world feel like a harsh and hopeless place. And perhaps most insidiously, it is the internal monologue of self-criticism and worry, a tireless narrator replaying past mistakes and rehearsing future anxieties. Life, in its beautiful and chaotic dance, often fills our days with this deafening noise, pulling our attention in 1,000 different directions until we feel fragmented, exhausted, and spiritually adrift. Yet beneath it all, the whisper remains. It is a call to stillness, an invitation to a journey inward, a sacred walk along what some call the covenant path. This path is not a physical trail etched into the earth, but a spiritual orientation, a way of being in the world that prioritizes the sacred over the superficial. It is not a race to be won or a steep mountain to be conquered, but a steady, quiet progression toward the light we inherently seek. It is a journey defined not by speed, but by intention, not by distance, but by devotion. It is about the quality of our steps, not the quantity. It's a path of promises kept, both those we make to a higher power in moments of sacred connection, and the quiet, daily promises we make to ourselves to live with more integrity, compassion, and love. It is the promise to listen to the whisper, to honor the yearning within. This is a path of faith nurtured, where the small, tender seeds of belief are tended with the gentle water of daily practice and the warm sun of quiet contemplation. In this garden of the soul, the soil is a willing heart, the water is our small but consistent efforts, and the sun is the grace that meets us when we simply show up. Over time, these seeds grow into a sheltering tree of unwavering conviction, a tree whose roots run deep enough to withstand the inevitable storms of life, providing shade and solace in the heat of our trials. It is the path where a peace that surpasses all understanding settles deep within the soul, a peace the world cannot give and, crucially, cannot take away. I invite you now to consciously lay aside your worries, to quiet the clamor of the world for just a moment, to take a deep breath, and to take the first step with an open, willing heart. Let us walk this whispering path together, unveiling sacred moments. The most profound spiritual growth rarely happens in a single, thunderous moment of revelation. More often, it unfolds in the quiet, unassuming spaces of our lives, in the small, simple acts of devotion that we often overlook as insignificant. Our culture celebrates grand gestures and visible achievements, but the soul is nourished by subtlety and consistency. It's found in the sincerity of a morning prayer offered before the day's demands begin. This isn't about reciting words by rote, but about creating a sacred pause, a pocket of stillness to consecrate the coming hours. It is the act of turning your heart toward the divine before turning your attention to your to-do list, a quiet declaration that your day will be guided by a higher purpose. It is in this stillness that we align our intentions and find our spiritual center before the world has a chance to pull us off balance. This growth is also found in the kindness extended to a stranger, a shared smile, a held door, a word of encouragement. These are the sacred moments disguised as common courtesy. That simple act of holding a door for someone is a momentary acknowledgement of their presence and worth. The genuine compliment offered to a cashier might be the only positive affirmation they hear all day. These small acts are prayers in motion. They are a tangible way of honoring the divine spark in another person, and in doing so, we feel it kindle more brightly within ourselves. Each act is a thread woven into a tapestry of compassion, a connection that ripples outward in unseen ways, blessing both the giver and the receiver, and silently testifying to a more beautiful way of living. It's in the patient study of words that have guided souls for generations, finding a personal truth that feels as if it were written just for you, speaking directly to the questions of your heart. This is not about academic dissection, but about a devotional dialogue. It is about reading slowly, allowing the words to settle, and listening for the echo they create within your own soul. It is finding a single verse or phrase that shimmers with relevance and carrying it with you throughout your day, letting it be a lens through which you see your experiences. And this sacredness is even found in the mindful washing of dishes, transforming a mundane chore into a meditation on gratitude for the food that nourished you, the hands that prepared it, and the home that shelters you. It is in these moments of mindful presence that we discover that the holy is not confined to special places or times. It permeates all of life, waiting only to be noticed. I remember a time when my own path felt shrouded in a dense, chilling fog. The way forward was unclear, and a heavy sense of doubt rested upon my shoulders, making each step feel laborious and uncertain. The world outside seemed to be moving forward with such confidence, while I felt stuck, my spiritual compass spinning aimlessly, unable to find a true north. One afternoon, feeling utterly lost and overwhelmed by the weight of my own expectations, I simply sat in silence. I didn't have the words to form a proper prayer. I had no grand requests or desperate pleas. The silence itself felt like a prayer of surrender. I just wanted to feel a connection, to be still and known. A gentle thought entered my mind, a memory of a promise I had made long ago, a covenant to trust in a power and a plan far greater than my own. It wasn't an audible voice, but a feeling, a profound, warming sense of being seen, understood, and loved completely, in my entirety, with all my imperfections. In that simple, sacred moment, the fog began to lift. The challenges didn't vanish, but my relationship to them changed. The weight on my shoulders was not removed, but I was given the strength to carry it. I was reminded that I did not have to face my struggles alone. These are the unexpected blessings that appear along the path, small yet powerful affirmations that we are heading in the right direction. They are the quiet miracles that sustain us. Through quiet reflection and a commitment to these small, consistent acts of faith, we build a reservoir of inner strength, a resilience that allows us to navigate life's storms, not with fear, but with a steady and abiding faith. Each small moment is a stone laid in the foundation of our spiritual lives, creating a structure strong enough to withstand any tempest. Navigating gentle turns. A spiritual journey is not a straight, paved highway, laid out with predictable milestones and clear signposts. It is a living, organic path, more like a winding trail through a vast, untamed wilderness. It dips into shaded valleys of introspection, climbs to sunlit ridges of clarity, and sometimes meanders onto quiet plateaus where we are invited to rest and integrate what we have learned. There will be moments when the way seems clear, the sun is warm upon your face, and your steps feel light and purposeful, as if carried by an unseen grace. In these seasons of vibrant growth, our faith feels effortless, our prayers feel answered, and our connection to the divine feels immediate and strong. There will also be times when the path narrows and becomes rocky, when the trail seems to vanish altogether into a thicket of confusion. These are the moments when we must adjust our pace, watch our footing, and lean more heavily on the promises we hold dear. It is in these moments of subtle shifting and challenge that our growth is often most profound. It is here, in the effort of navigating the uncertain terrain, that our spiritual muscles are strengthened. A faith that has not been tested is a faith that cannot be fully trusted. These periods of difficulty are not punishments or signs that we have lost our way. They are the curriculum of the soul, designed to teach us reliance, humility, and a deeper kind of strength that is not our own. We learn that progress isn't always measured by great leaps or mountaintop experiences, but by the quiet, tenacious commitment to keep walking, to keep trusting even when we cannot see far ahead. It is here that patience becomes our closest companion. This is not a passive, resigned waiting, but an active, hopeful stillness. It is the wisdom to resist the urge to rush forward in a panic or to retreat in fear. It is the courage to stay present in the uncertainty, listening more intently for the whisper that directs our steps, rather than imposing our own will and agenda. This divine guidance is a constant presence, a steady hand that we can feel if we are still enough to notice. It's like walking a forest trail at dusk. While the full landscape may be obscured in shadow, there is always just enough light, a soft luminescence, to illuminate the next step and then the next. Our task is not to see the entire journey's end, but to trust the light we are given for the step we must take now. Through the changing seasons of our lives, the bright, abundant summers of joy, the crisp, colorful autumns of transition and letting go, and the stark, introspective winters of trial, trust becomes the bedrock beneath our feet. In winter, the landscape may seem barren and lifeless, and we may feel spiritually dormant. But it is in this fallow season that the roots of our faith are deepening, drawing nourishment from unseen sources, preparing for the inevitable spring of renewal. Trust is the steadfast assurance that every turn in the path, every unexpected detour, and even every painful stumble is part of a beautiful, unfolding design crafted by a loving hand. It is the faith that in the grand tapestry of our lives, even the darkest threads are essential to the beauty of the final masterpiece. Embracing the unfolding bloom. With each step of patience and trust, something beautiful and transformative begins to happen within us. Like a tightly closed bud that slowly unfurls in the warmth of the sun, our own spiritual nature begins to open. We start to notice the quiet victories, the small internal breakthroughs that signal true spiritual progress. These are often invisible to the outside world, but they feel monumental within. It might be the moment you are caught in traffic and, instead of the familiar surge of frustration, you feel a wave of calm acceptance, using the moment to breathe and observe. It is the day you find yourself offering forgiveness, not just in words, but in your heart, to someone who has hurt you, releasing a heavy burden of resentment you didn't even realize you were carrying. Suddenly, you feel lighter, freer. It could be the newfound ability to sit in stillness for 5 minutes without the anxious need to fill the silence, discovering a quiet companionship in your own presence. Or it might be the genuine, unselfish joy that blossoms in your heart when you hear of a friend's success, a joy untainted by the shadow of comparison or envy. These are the blossoms on the path, vibrant and fragrant evidence of a heart that is softening, expanding, and healing. This inner transformation brings with it a profound realization, a shift in the very foundation of our being. True, lasting peace comes not from controlling our circumstances, but from aligning our will with a higher, more loving purpose. We spend so much of our lives striving, pushing, and attempting to bend the world to our desires, believing that our happiness lies just on the other side of the next achievement or acquisition. But the path teaches us a different way. We learn to let go of our own rigid plans and anxious timelines, and we open ourselves to a grander vision for our lives. This surrender is not a sign of weakness or a passive resignation. It is the ultimate act of faith and strength. It is the courage to say, I trust that there is a wisdom greater than my own at work in my life. It is an active partnership, a sacred dance of co-creation where we do our part and then allow the divine to do its part. As we practice this surrender, our understanding deepens. We begin to see ourselves and others through a more compassionate lens. The harsh inner critic that once dominated our thoughts begins to lose its power, replaced by a voice of gentle encouragement and self-acceptance. We learn to forgive ourselves for our imperfections, recognizing that we are, and always have been, a work in progress. This inner kindness naturally extends outward. We start to recognize the shared human struggle, the universal desire for love and acceptance, and the divine spark within every person we meet, no matter how obscured it may be by their behavior or beliefs. This unfolding bloom of compassion changes everything. It heals relationships, allowing us to see past old grievances and connect on a deeper, more authentic level. It mends old wounds within our own hearts, bringing peace to memories that once brought pain. It fills our journey with a radiant light, a warmth that not only illuminates our own way, but also helps brighten the path for others who may be walking in shadow. We become a quiet sanctuary for those around us, not by offering advice, but simply by embodying the peace we have so diligently cultivated. A haven of continuing peace. The covenant path is more than just a journey. It is a destination we carry within us. It is a haven of peace, an inner sanctuary that remains unshaken by the storms of the outside world. The comfort and security we find here are not fleeting. They are rooted in eternal promises and a divine connection that cannot be broken. This journey does not have a final endpoint in this life, for it is a continuous invitation to go deeper, to learn more, and to love more fully. It is a spiral path that continually brings us back to core truths, each time with a greater capacity to understand and to live them. As you continue your walk, may you find joy in the ongoing introspection, in the daily practices that draw you closer to the divine. May you feel the steady assurance of a guiding hand on your shoulder, and the quiet strength that comes from a life lived with purpose and intention. The path is always there, whispering its invitation to begin again, to take the next step, to come home to yourself and to the source of all peace. May you walk it with a hopeful heart, confident in the journey and secure in the destination. And may you be filled with a profound, abiding, and ever-deepening sense of inner peace.